Hi, Susie. How are you?
Hi, Risa. I'm good. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. I'm super excited to talk all things Riviera Maya today, getting the update from you about why it's such an incredible place to retire. I always love going there.
Oh,
And I know that you
good.
have some serious updates, actually, some significant updates about what's going on in the region. Um, but first, you know what? I just kind of want the audience to kind of know a little bit about you
Okay.
before we kind of get into it. You've been a real estate agent for a number of years in the region, but kind of give me a little bit of backstory so people have some context.
All right. Well, first of all, hello. How are you? I'm so happy to see you again. I love talking to you. Okay, so what can I tell you about me? All right. So I have been living in this area for about a little over 12 years now, which is pretty crazy when I think about it. I'm originally from Colombia and I lived in the United States for a long, long time. I moved there when I was a teenager. I was 15 when we relocated there for my dad's job. So we ended up just living there. When we came here, it was because came on vacation, fell in love with the area, and it ended up becoming that place that you come to on vacation every year and you see all the growth. So seeing the growth even back then, which I mean we're talking now what, like almost 20 years, um, decided to try the luck at investing and did that here while living in the US. Bought some land. That land that was very scary because just the process, although there were a lot of things that were very similar, there were a lot of things that also were completely different. And but everything worked out okay. Followed the steps, worked with a realtor that knew what they were talking about, had an attorney, followed the process, and everything went okay. uh, Biggest difference between, say, like the US and here is that in the US you get the phone call. It's like, oh, look, I mean, nothing has happened yet, but we're working on it, which always makes you feel great. Here, they don't call you unless something happens, which is kind of like, oh my God, did I make a mistake or not? So I that always stuck with me. And when I move forward into doing this type of business, being real estate, I always strive to stay in touch with my people throughout the whole process. And I always ask them to copy me on their legal and on everything so I can keep tabs on things and just make sure that things flow in a smooth way. Also, buying from reputable builders, which here you get a mix of everything. So I'm actually very discriminate about what I sell because not every development is created equal. And I just want my people, everybody that calls me, to be able to be happy with what they purchased, not to be buying a headache. I don't need that. They don't need that. Because I want people to fall in love with this area and be happy with it the way that I am.
That's awesome. And now you've been a real estate agent for how long? How many years now?
Oh, well, for the 12, yeah, a little over 12 that I've been here. But it's also very important for me to point out I am a licensed real estate agent. I am certified by the state of Quintana Roo to be able to work in this field. Not everybody is.
Right.
So
And so you can actually sell real estate in Mexico without being licensed. Is that right?
there, yes, you can, and that is something that is changing. It's slowly changing, and that is a good thing
Yeah.
because you have to understand and know the laws. You need to understand what the processes are. You need to understand how you protect your clients and that you're responsible for doing the research on the product that you're selling, that you're offering people. And sometimes there's people that, I mean, that they just don't think about all these things. They don't take the responsibility that they're taking on seriously. And that's something that for me has been paramount. Learn through some mistakes because they did happen, especially at the beginning as I started on this, and I learned from those mistakes and they marked me. So the Susie real estate agent that you have now has a lot of experience, has taken the time to understand the market, understand who the players are, and where I want to put you is just somewhere, like I said, that your investment is always going to be safe. And those mistakes of the past were great lessons.
Right. No, that's really honest of you. I think that's great, right? Because there is no faster way to learn something than making a
No,
mistake, right?
that is so, so true. So that, no, lesson learned.
So before we get into it, can you share with everybody where the Riviera Maya is and what does it actually what is considered that region of Mexico?
Okay, so the Riviera Maya is located in the state of Quintana Roo. Quintana Roo is on the east coast of Mexico. So we have the Caribbean Sea here. So if you want to think about it, say, let's talk about like North America terms. We're on the same side as Florida, as upstate New York, just, farther down that way. The ocean here is beautiful, is blue, 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 and the water here is 80 degrees all year round. So even in January, in the middle of that cold winter that you have in the northern states, over here, no problem. And if you want to go swim, you can because it's 80 degrees all year round. We are part of the Yucatan Peninsula. So the Yucatan Peninsula is comprised of 5 states. Quintana Roo is one of them. You also have the state of Yucatan, you have the state of Campeche, part of the state of Tabasco, and the state of Chiapas. So all of that is the Yucatan Peninsula. Something that is very unique about this area is the ground is mainly limestone. So you have a lot of underwater rivers, which we know as cenotes, that are around this entire area. There are over 10,000 cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula. So when it comes to also like construction, for example, developers here, they have to do soundings. So you have to be able to dig down and see what is the quality of the ground that is underneath, and knowing what area is going to be buildable, and how to do it. Because this is an area that has so many cenotes and a lot of jungle. There's also a lot of different land densities throughout the entire state. And depending on the areas, there's only determined densities that you can have in order to be able to do a particular development. There are areas that have higher density where you can build on a larger volume, and there are areas that have lower density, so you have more green areas around the specific structures. These are given by the urban development offices in the different municipalities, which I mean is the equivalent of a county in the US. And what would it be in Canada? Oh, I'm not sure. I know it's not province, but
Mm.
it's whatever is little part
I
of
think
the
they have
province.
counties also, but maybe
So
I
maybe
don't.
it is the
Yes.
counties. So they're the ones that rule all the local laws, and they work in conjunction with the federal government because everything has to be approved at every level. So you have very interesting projects that can be created, and what is really cool now is that you're having developers now starting to pay more attention at the sustainability aspect when they do construction. That is something that is starting to come on the pipeline that I am super happy about, especially when you have projects that are either by the ocean or in the jungles, because I mean, we have to preserve it. There's only one planet Earth, right?
Right. No, and I've seen that. That's really amazing. So the Riviera Maya starts in Cancun, is that right? And then
Yes.
all the way to Tulum?
It goes all the way to Tulum. Yeah, so that area so Cancun is known as Cancun. So from Puerto Morelos south to Tulum is the Riviera Maya. And then after Tulum, you go all the way down to Chetumal, that is known as the Costa Maya, because all of that right there, all the way to Chetumal, which is the capital of the state of Quintana Roo and is where it connects with Belize, that whole thing, you have a bunch of ocean and some lagoons and other stuff.
It's not even a bunch of ocean. I mean, it is gorgeous,
Right.
gorgeous, like turquoise, yeah, idyllic ocean waters. It's really amazing.
And the
Um,
sand is fantastic because it's made out of coral. So even though like at 12 noon, you can walk barefoot and you're not going to burn your feet.
Wow, that's so amazing.
Mhm.
That's so amazing. So I mean, that's already a great reason to retire in that area
Agreed.
of Mexico. So give me a little bit of an update of what's going on in the Riviera Maya. So why is it, you know, it's I believe attracting more and more people each year.
Yes.
So what's going on? Let's start up north. What's going on in Puerto Morelos? For those of people who don't even know Puerto Morelos, that's only like 20 minutes from the Cancun airport, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's yeah, about 20 minutes from the Cancun airport. So Puerto Morelos, what is going on with Puerto Morelos? Actually, quite a lot. A few years ago, Puerto Morelos became their own municipality, and because they became their own municipality, their own county, a lot more development has started to take in place in that area. However, Puerto Morelos has something that is very unique and very beautiful to it, and that is the fact that they have a lot of mangroves. The mangroves are the filters of the reef, so there is a bunch of protected areas all around Puerto Morelos, which means that although there is growth that is taking place, it's not going to be an overwhelming growth because you have so much areas that are naturally protected. And so that, what does that afford you? It affords like really beautiful scenery. It allows you to have some very unique boutique projects. There is a lot of existing construction that is saying like the main square, but you have other areas around the municipality of Puerto Morelos that are starting to grow, and that they're doing it in a really beautiful way, very much very sustainable, because of the type of ecosystem that exists there. In the jungle, you're also having by the Ruta de los Cenotes some residential projects that are taking place that way. That is a lot more like land lots for residents, for residences. So if somebody wants to build a house or something, but most people really what they like is obviously being able to be close to the beach and be able to walk to the town, to the square. And you're having some developers that have come also from Cancun, some very reputable ones that are doing some really interesting projects in that area, that vicinity of Puerto Morelos. That is actually very, very pretty. There is some projects that I am checking out right now that we can talk about later, but I'm very
Yeah,
excited
that's something
about.
that we're gonna do a video on,
Yes.
I believe. So yeah, so that's really super exciting. Yeah, no, Puerto Morelos, and anybody who's interested in seeing what it looks like, we actually did a little video, I think like a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago,
Yes.
where we drove around the town, and people can check. I'll put the link somewhere here, and
Mhm.
people can check out that video in terms of see. And then actually, I'm hoping to go soon, so we'll do an updated video and seeing how Morelos has changed in the last couple of years. But
Yes.
yeah, so that's really exciting. It's just such a charming fishing town, and I do love the fact that
Yeah.
it can only grow to be so much because of the
Mhm.
mangroves, and
Yes.
there's just a lot of environmental protection laws in that town.
Yes.
Um, I think what distinguishes the Riviera Maya actually from a lot of other regions also is that you do have like these huge like gated communities, right?
Yes. We
That are
do.
like little cities on their own.
Mhm.
Whether it's
Yes.
Playa Car or Puerto Aventuras, or I mean, there's like I don't know how many are there at this point. There's a bunch of them,
Oh
right?
gosh, there are
Vidante.
so many of them. I mean, if we start looking like, let's say, going like south towards Playa del Carmen, which Playa del Carmen has been having a lot of growth and development too. But for example, like what is in the center is pretty full right now in the, like, let's call it like that desirable area where people want to be at, which is, on the beach side. So but now what is interesting is that like on the west side now you're finding some really cool stuff and some really nice projects. For example, on the north end you have Mayacoba City, which is coming along fantastic. So this area has like a 10-year plan to be developed into a city on its own, pretty much, which is a gated community. You have homes, you have condos, you're having a commercial area in there. There's going to be a really good hospital that is going to be built and is actually now in the process of being built. They're also putting schools there. So it's an area that
Wow.
is, yes. So it's an area that is geared also towards families because with all the hotels that you have down the corridor, you have a lot of administrators and managers and people that need housing. And I mean, they don't really care about being, in downtown Playa. When you have children, that's probably not where you really want to be too much. You want to be in a gated community that has like really beautiful green areas and that everything is close, is nearby, and is very convenient to get to. Um, you have some other little Pueblo Sacbe. You have like little jungle communities that there's some people that like really, really like that. Um, and then on the beach side, you have the area of Corasol. Corasol is like gearing up and is working towards being a very, very, very high end oceanfront gated community. You have several projects in there. You have some oceanfront buildings, and then like on those there's some that are like very very high end, where you can do like long-term rentals. And what is so attractive about Corasol is that you can drive taking the back exit from the development and being downtown Playa del Carmen in 5 minutes. You
Wow.
have Fifth Avenue that is paved all the way, so you can take a stroll from your home in Corozal all the way into Playa. And I mean, Fifth Avenue is all lit up, it's all paved, it's secure. So it's actually like really, really nice. And the growth is coming towards that area on Fifth Avenue. You start seeing like little restaurants and cool shops pop up, keep coming north that way towards Corozal. So I mean, what you're gonna see in the future is that whole area completely just built up and be commercial from, I mean, almost 100 blocks. I'm not even joking.
Actually, so Fifth Avenue is very famous in Playa del Carmen, but not everybody might know what Fifth Avenue is. I mean, Fifth Avenue is iconic in New York City, of course,
Yes, of
but
course.
it's a little bit different in Playa. Do you want to share like what actually Fifth Avenue is?
Yeah, hold on. So Fifth Avenue is very, like, what do we say? It's a little different, or let's say maybe very different, because it's the beach version of the Fifth Avenue in New York. No, I'm joking. So when Playa had started to develop and to grow, you had this road that would connect from the port where people could take the ferry to Cozumel and take you all the way down to the city. That was a pedestrian walk. And it became known as Fifth Avenue. And the area kept on growing because people kept on coming. So you started to get more restaurants and more shops. And the city started to pretty much grow around this part known as Fifth Avenue because it was pedestrian. And that's something that people always found very attractive about Playa del Carmen. So now that Fifth Avenue, which keeps growing with little restaurants, cafes, with little shops, I mean, it goes for, like I said, it's almost 100 blocks now. It's endless, so you can really take a nice stroll. Um, no bicycle. Well, no, there's some people that ride bikes, but that is actually kind of dangerous. And now the authorities are starting to stop that because there's so many people that are walking, and you don't want to have to worry about, like a bike coming and that would not be good.
Yeah, but the great thing is that it's pedestrian only. It's not as,
Yes.
and I think that's the unique thing also with the Riviera Maya is that there's like the main highway that
Yes.
connects everything, right? From
Yes.
Cancun all the way to Tulum and further.
Yeah.
And all these gated communities and then, once you kind of get off the exit and then you're in your whatever town that you're looking to be in.
Correct.
So Playa, I know, has grown tremendously over the
Yes. Yes,
years.
we have.
Are you continuing to see growth there? And
Yeah.
like, what type of person, um, like, who is it ideal for, would you say?
So look, right now, probably like the biggest like group demographic that is coming here are people that can work from abroad, and they absolutely love Playa del Carmen. because something that has changed over the last several years, probably about the last 6 7 years, is the connectivity. Now you have a lot more internet providers, and you have a ton of fiber optic cable that goes through the entire city. So the internet is actually quite good here, and it has the speed that a lot of these like jobs that you can do abroad require. And since people like the fact that in Playa you can get around by walking or in a bicycle, that you don't really need a car to be in this central part, they stay and they really like it. And they normally come, I don't know, like sometimes they come for a year, 3 months, 6 months. They can rent a place, enjoy the area, do their work, and then they go and move somewhere else. But it's become something that is like a constant rotation of people, and then they make Playa like the stop every year. So because we're starting to see like that, the repeat people that are coming. And people here are so friendly, and everybody's so nice and welcoming, which is not something that you see everywhere. And people really feel at home here, which I think has been just something that Playa understands very clearly, and strives to always be that open, welcoming place, and especially for the digital nomad. That's a
Yeah,
plus
for the
here.
digital nomad. But there's also like a lot of emphasis, I feel like, on holistic health there. There's so many. I mean, you're a yoga instructor. There's like a lot of yoga places, or whether it's like you, there's just so much access to fresh food. I mean, that's everywhere in Mexico, but I
Yeah.
just feel like it does attract people who are also into health and wellness.
Oh, for sure. Oh,
Yeah,
no, no, no. Yeah, without a doubt. And you know what? Sometimes what is funny is that when they come here, they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize that food could be so fresh and so good." And people that like live abroad and then they come to, like, me as a yoga instructor, they go to the place where I'm at Yoga Loft. I'm also now at another place called Copo, but from Yoga Loft, I mean, they come and they're like, "Oh my God, this is just amazing. I cannot believe what great yoga classes are offered here, because it's different than what you get in other places. We like the based on the practice. And then also with the holistic therapies, I mean, they have like the therapy room, and over here there's a lot of really, really great facilitators for different holistic practices. There's a lot of really good Ayurvedic practitioners, and you have also great chiropractors, people that work with like with bones and things like this. So you have a lot of that, and it's something that is growing, and a lot of people come here also to take advantage of that, because the prices are also reasonable, and because they feel better.
yeah,
The weather
no, for
here,
sure.
and with the weather, just with like the humidity, physically there's a lot of people that are, oh my God, first a bit too hot, but then once they get past that, they realize that the body feels better because of that humidity, that heat. There's not as much joint pain and these other things. And I mean, when you feel better, then you just go where you feel better, right?
Right, exactly. Um, And then so if you keep kind of going south along that corridor,
Hmm.
then you lived in Puerto Aventuras, and then right down this, not right down the street, but if you drive down further, then you're in Tulum. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about Puerto Aventuras, which is also a gated community,
Hmm.
correct?
Yes. So Puerto Venturas is probably about 15 20 minutes south of Playa del Carmen. And so from Puerto Venturas, you're about another 25 minutes from Tulum. And this little gated community is not very big. It's actually quite small, but the people that live in Puerto Venturas, they absolutely love it. It's a place that is really designed for families, also people that are retirees really like it there. You have ocean, you also have a marina there. So anybody that is into sailing, into boats, they for sure know Puerto Aventuras, because it's the only marina outside of Cancun. Is the only one between, say, Cancun and Belize. Puerto Aventuras is the only one. So there they have homes also there that are marina front, so people can park their boat. It's its own little microcosm. There is lots of little restaurants in there. There are grocery stores. So if you don't ever want to leave the community, like, you don't have to. And there's a lot of people that, from the convenience of everything being right there, they just stay. An area that is also coming up in a really great way is once you leave Puerto Aventuras and you drive down to Xpuja. So Xpuja is probably about 10 minutes from Puerto Aventuras. And Xpuja has been known because it's the beach where, those Corona beer commercials where they showed it to people at the beach. That's the beach where they filmed them.
Oh, that's funny.
Shpuha, yeah, and then Shpuha means morning dew, so it's known as the morning dew beach. And in this area now, you're having a lot of growth. There's lots of actually of these gated communities that are popping up. There's some that are like they have like the homes, and then there's some that are connected with like a specific beach club. There's other gated communities that have amenities in them with like little restaurants and little what do you call where you grow vegetables. um
I mean,
it's not
garden?
a field, like yeah, like herb gardens and vegetable gardens and things like this, so they can do like that farm to table at the restaurants that are within the
Wow.
amenities. No, it's very, very
That's
cool.
amazing. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so from Puerto Aventuras and what you call it?
Shpuha.
Shu,
Shpuha. Shpu.
Spuja.
Eso.
Spuja.
Mhm.
So from Spuja, then if you go down a little bit further south, you're in the infamous Tulum, which is very
Yes.
fancy, has become very popular.
Tulum.
So there are some very serious developments with Tulum, right?
Oh my God, so much is happening with Tulum. But there's one thing that tops everything right now. I mean, and I'm not even joking, at least 12 years, Tulum finally has an international airport.
Oh, it's an international one.
International airport. Huge news.
Yeah, that's a big
Massive.
deal.
It's a huge deal because it's been promised for a long, long time, and the government finally delivered on that promise, which the original thought, which is very important, was more than from, oh, just because of the volume of everybody that is just growing and coming here. It's from an issue also of like safety, because, for example, if Cancun, for whatever reason, there's a hurricane and the airport shuts down, the closest airport is on Chetumal at the end of the state, which you're talking 6, 7 hours from Cancun. So if you needed to get supplies or people out and everything logistically, problematic. So, but say if something happens to Cancun, now you have Tulum that can take all of that, and vice versa. So you're not stuck with having such a long distance between two airports. And because with traffic, it ends up being longer than like the 6, 7 hours. And especially if you have something like that. So that is also a reason why they wanted to build this airport. Um, they just had to strategically find also the place where it would work, because many years ago the place where they had the airport like located to where it was going to be, it really was not the best, most optimal location, because that area now, I mean, it's residential. You have so many projects that are in that area now that an airport there wouldn't have made sense. Where they built it, it makes sense. And now you are having different flights that are also, yeah, coming in from the United States and also from Canada. And by the summer, you're going to have even more flights that are going to be arriving at the Tulum airport. So yeah, but it's international. That was a big deal. It opened December of last year. They did it
That's
very
amazing.
quiet, very softly, because you want to make sure that you work out all the kinks. But yeah, but it's official. We have a Tulum International Airport.
That's great. So for people even going to Playa, they now have an option, right? To go to Tulum or to go to Cancun, right?
Yes,
It's almost
yes.
in the middle, kind of. Oh, I guess it's more or less.
More or less, yeah, pretty much. I mean, but it does give opportunities. But also, what this is doing that is going to be very huge is also going to open down south what's all the beautiful things that are down there. But we can talk about those later.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's so great. So clearly, there's a lot of reasons to go and check out the Riviera Maya.
Oh my God,
Um,
so
which is
many.
amazing. And actually lastly, I did want to touch upon the sargassum because that's been a huge issue in the news and stuff for that
Yes.
region. And the sargassum is the seaweed that had been rolling up in the Caribbean. This is not only Mexico, this was Florida, this was a lot of the Caribbean islands, Gulf of Mexico was kind of suffering from this. And you kind of have an update for this year, right?
Yeah, this year has been amazing. Like those sargassum beds, I mean, something must have changed somewhere. I'm not sure where, but this year we've had pretty much no sargassum. The ocean has been clear, it's been clean, the water's been blue. You haven't had the enormous patches that were coming because, I mean, from like the airplanes, you could see like the patches just move down. And no, this year it's been really, really great. I was at the beach last weekend and the water was just gorgeous, crystal blue, no sargassum, like everything that you love about the Caribbean. That's what it is right now.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. So these are a lot of reasons why people should check out the Riviera Maya. So if
Yeah.
people are interested in purchasing property, they should contact you, Susie, because you are the bomb. You're the one. And I really, I've seen you work, and you really, it's amazing how much you care for your clients. It's true.
Oh,
And that's really important because a lot of people don't necessarily. They're kind of just
yes.
looking at the dollar, the end amount of what they're going to earn, and you're not like that. You're really there for the journey for them, and this is like a big deal for people to
It's
purchase
huge.
property or to move down to Mexico, as you have done yourself.
Hmm.
um, so
Yes.
if people want to contact you, follow you, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they follow you?
Well, look, like the easiest thing, first come to my page, which is susiemcdonald.com. And Susie is SUSI. And McDonald is MacDonald. So over there, you can find all my social media links. You can get in touch with me. You can also email me at Susie at susiemcdonald.com. If you want to send me an email, or my phone number is right on the page. That is like my favorite way to talk to somebody is obviously in person. My second favorite is via Zoom, being able to do something like this. And then third, and the one that I know is most available for most people, is a phone call. Because I mean, I want people that are talking to me to get to know me, to know where I'm coming from, and that I am truly there to help, to be able to be of that service, to help their dream about owning in Mexico in the Riviera Maya come true, and for it to be a fun experience, not something that is going to be stressful, not something that's going to give you headaches, nothing that is going to make you sad, because there's no point in that. You're coming here, it's a dream, it's something that somebody has worked very hard for, and I mean, let's make it happen in the best possible way.
Always great to talk to you. Can't wait to see you in Playa very, very soon.
I am
uh,
keeping fingers crossed.
Sounds great. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, sounds good, Risa. Thank you so much.